What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, and in today's video we're going to be talking about the Ole Miss Rebels taking down the Oklahoma Sooners down in Norman and headed on to Vanderbilt getting it done against Missouri, and leading off with Brian Kelly's final game as the LSU Tigers head coach down in Baton Rouge. Getting today's video started with the recap, I want to start with Brian Kelly getting fired as the LSU head coach. Some of the notes I took before the game was over and before he got fired were the team had no fight. It was clear he has lost his locker room. It is clear he has lost the team. The offense has no motion. They don't have an identity. They're lacking a lot of stuff that a good head coach would fix. Moving on to A&M, pretty quick and easy. They just utter domination. They proved to everyone why they were that number 3 team in the country. I think they had a lot of doubters still coming into this game. They went out there. They showed why we're the best team. Marcel Reed, I had said that he needed to improve his arm talent and his arm to win big games, and he proved that today. He proved that he has improvements, and he's proved that he's getting better as a quarterback, and that's what you love to see if you're an Aggie fan. Now for LSU, the season turns to looking about who's your next head coach going to be. It's definitely not anyone on the staff. Blake Baker does not deserve to be a head coach yet. Joe Sloan is the reason that Brian Kelly may have got fired. He's horrible. Brian Kelly's gone, and there's so many other big open jobs like Florida and Penn State, Oklahoma State, Arkansas, that who truly is going to be that next head coach, that's what LSU fans are turning their attention to. Moving on to Mizzou, headed down to Vanderbilt. College game day was here, and Vandy got it done. They got it done in a gritty game. They proved today that they can get it done in any type of game. If it's a high-scoring game, if it's a slow game, if it's a slow, gritty game like today where the points were only field goals heading into the third quarter, they proved they can get it done no matter what. And Diego Pavia truly put himself in the contention for the Heisman, if you say. I don't think his stats have enough to win it, but he is that most impactful quarterback, I believe, in the country. Turning to Mizzou, they lost their quarterback. The season started, they lost their starter. Now they turned to Bro Pabula, and he got hurt, and he's out for the season. Now they turn to the true freshman, third string, to see if he can get it done down the stretch. This Missouri team still has hopes. If they can win out, they are a playoff team. But it's going to come down to how well can Eli Drinkwitz give his freshman quarterback a chance to win these games. Now we turn down to Oklahoma and watch the Sooners get dominated by the Ole Miss Rebels. As a Sooners fan, there's really not a lot to say other than we got beat this entire game. Yes, you could blame the refs. Yes, you could blame some other things like the play calling. But at the end of the day, it was self-inflicted wounds that cost you this game. Early in the game, Ole Miss starts the ball. They go on a 75-yard drive, field goal. Do you hold them to a field goal? Yes, but they drove the ball down the field. They were able to do it all day pretty consistently. We didn't force a lot of fumbles. This defense really can't force a turnover to save their lives right now, it seems like. There was a lot of things mentally that cost OU this game. Isaiah Sategna's fumble, we had all the momentum, ball at the 50-yard line, and you hurdle no one, and you fumble, and ultimately that was a turning point that we lost this football game. You had other things, such as a safety, where Torrey Blaylock really showed his true freshman in that play, and instead of running up the hole, it was a designed run to the outside, and he didn't do everything he could to get out of the end zone. That was the true point where I looked to my family at the football game and said, we're going to lose this game. Self-inflicted wounds like that have been the story of Brent Venables' career his entire time at Oklahoma. The whole time he's been a head coach, every year, it's undisciplined football teams, it's not taking accountability for the offense, and it's heavily penalized teams and dumb mistakes. Those are what is going to cost Brent Venables his job eventually if we continue down the same path. Do I think that there's a potential where we can turn it around and continue on a much better path and he keeps his job? Absolutely. The Sooner fan in me wants that to happen. But at the same time, the Oklahoma fan in me wants us to win football games. And if Brent Venables can't do it and we have these same problems year in, year out, you have to ask the question, is he truly that guy in the future? We just watched Brian Kelly get fired. Brian Kelly has a higher win percentage, and he was hired in the same year as Brent Venables. Brian Kelly is 6 wins better right now than Venables is, and he got canned. So what is a standard at Oklahoma? The boosters and the people who make those decisions are going to have to decide, and decide pretty quick. Talking more about the actual game, though, the Sooners came out a little flat. The offense has not been great the last few games. John Mateer, it all starts with him. This team is going to either go to highest places or the lowest places based on how John Mateer plays. Today, John Mateer just didn't play his best game. He wasn't finding the open guys. When he did, he wasn't on target. Really, his only great play was when he redirected Sategna for the 77-yard touchdown. That was fantastic. You can get that John Mateer for a full game. Really, really hard for the Sooners team to lose. The only problem is we get bits and hopes and glimmers of it, but we never get it for a whole game. Most of the time, we get the John Mateer that is making the bad mistakes in the last few games. Today, I can go ahead and at least point to a few of John Mateer's mistakes where we had 4th and 2, and we have Isaiah Satania in a little zig route, wide open. You're going to get the first down. You need it. It's a drive where you have to go get points. But instead, Mateer goes for the deep out route, which was open to Giovanni Gibson. It was a completely missed throw. Those are the key plays that are going to kill this offense and this team in general. Watching this game in person, I really thought that Ben Arbuckle called a pretty bad game. But then I got home and I rewatched some of these plays, and I think he called, all things considered, a pretty good game. He was getting receivers open. He was scheming them open. It came down to John Mateer wasn't reading them. John Mateer has this tendency where you can watch it. If the read starts from left to right or right to left, he looks at his first target or second and goes there. He's going to stare them down. He's not very great at scanning the field. And when he likes to run around behind the pocket, he's horrible at throwing the ball away or actually running the football. Instead, he just tries to dance around in the backfield until he gets tackled or maybe gain a yard. But I have not yet to see him actually do that and break one and then pass a play or run a play that is substantial yards. Another thing for this Oklahoma team is you got the momentum back. This game did not start great. It was raining. It wasn't in your momentum. The momentum was not on your side. And then all of a sudden in that third quarter, you get the momentum back. And its key starts with Xavier Robinson getting himself a 65-yard touchdown run. That was a fantastic run, up the middle, bottled up, and he's able to bust it outside. But from that run on, and in the fourth quarter, Xavier Robinson got 2 carries. 2 carries for 18 yards. Why would you take the ball out of your hot hand when you have all the momentum? When we got the ball with 8 minutes left after the Isaiah Satania fumble, which turned into 3 points, by the way, you have that momentum and you turn it into you throw the ball only. There's 4 minutes left on that clock. You have time to run the football, which has been working well. Xavier Robinson was averaging 5 yards a carry, excluding the 60-yard touchdown run. So he was doing it good without that touchdown run boasting his averages, and you completely turned away from it. It was really confusing as an Oklahoma fan. A lot of people are talking about how it didn't make sense, and that's been a big story with DeMarco Murray at the running back coach. I do want to touch on the refs because in this game, the referees, they did miss some big calls. The roughing the passer on Jaden Jackson, where he was held and then pushed into the quarterback, it was a horrible officiating call. And if the SEC has said anything, every time it happens against Oklahoma, the other team gets a statement out of it. So let's get a statement out of the SEC officials now about that missed call because it was horrible. But in the end, did the officials cost Oklahoma this game? Absolutely not. Oklahoma cost themselves this game. They had so many opportunities to win, and they just couldn't put it away. The very last thing I want to say about Oklahoma is when does accountability start getting taken? At a level at Oklahoma football is where the winning is the expectation. 8-4 is not the norm. 10-2, 11-1, 12-0, that is the standard at Oklahoma. National championships are the standard at Oklahoma. At what point do we see people take accountability? Joe John Finley has yet to put in a good tight end. Brandon Willis is the only one, and he has yet to prove that he deserves that spot. What has DeMarco Murray done? I have not seen DeMarco Murray come out and develop a running back. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Xavier Robinson, but we just don't play him. And according to the rumors and according to Brent Venables and Ben Arbuckle himself, DeMarco Murray is the one who proves and says who was the running back going into that week. Why is it not Xavier Robinson? It should be Xavier Robinson and Troy Blaylock as your 1-2 punch, and they should be getting 20 carries a game. Look what we've seen them do when they get the carries. Second thing, Bill Beanenbaugh. Yes, you're recruiting at an insanely high level right now, but the recruits don't mean anything if you can't actually turn the recruits into good college players. I get he turns them into NFL players because of their talent ability, but does he coach them to be good when they're in college? That's what his job is to do, and right now he hasn't been doing that great. This is make it or break it year. They have to be better as a coaching staff fully on the offensive side. Turning over to Ole Miss, they did what it took to win. Did Lane Kiffin make some very questionable coaching calls? Yes, but that's because he trusts his team so much. I wish we were in a position where we trust our team as much as Lane Kiffin did. I think almost every fan in the country did because he wasn't afraid to go for it on 4th and 2 at the 25-yard line, 30-yard line and not get it, and then he trusts his defense to hold Oklahoma to 3 points. That is what makes Lane Kiffin as good of a coach as he is. Was it a dumb idea? Probably. But did he trust his team and it work? Absolutely. Also, Lane Kiffin has a tendency where if things turn sideways, they go completely sideways. They get completely derailed. And today, their team was resilient enough to let Oklahoma get the momentum back. And then when they had to have it drive, they went down there, marched down, and they scored a touchdown. That is the Lane Kiffin that Florida wants if they try to go hire him. That is the Lane Kiffin that Ole Miss wants if they want to make a true playoff push this year. Also, Ole Miss, with this win, they are a playoff team. I mean, unless they completely flounder their season and lose it, they're a playoff team. They have a very good shot at going 11-1 with games against the Citadel, South Carolina up, and then they play at Mississippi State, which is yet to win an SEC game. They should be 11-1 entering the playoffs, and they have a good shot at being in Atlanta for the SEC championship game. I do want to touch on, I don't think that Trinidad Chambliss had his best game. I mean, he missed a lot of throws. Would the weather affect that? I don't know. But the kid is a true baller. He deserves his roses, and I'm going to give them to him. He has been nails when he needs it. He has been so good this season. When Ole Miss truly needs a guy like him, it's been crazy to watch. I really enjoyed getting to watch this game. It was a great game. Yes, the Sooners lost, and it's not looking great for them. They're going to have to win out to make the playoffs. I don't think at this point a 10-3 season is going to get you in. I think it gets you at the first 4 out probably, but I don't know if you truly are able to make it into the playoffs at a 10-3 season. Thank y'all for tuning back into the channel today. Those are just my takes, so make sure you leave a comment down below, your takes on the games. Let me know what you'd like to see next, and make sure to comment, subscribe, and like. Boomer!